Alright, so the first thing about hard bounce that's really important is the BPM. You gotta make sure that you're somewhere between maybe 150 BPM and 165. We're at 160 here. I've got this kick that's also one of the most important parts. Now the way that we're making this kick is we're taking one kick and creating 3 layers out of it. So it starts like this. Right, just this super hard kick. If you want to get this one, the template and all the samples from this video are available at the top of the description on my website. So make sure to grab that. We got this one here. I made it a little bit shorter. I pitched it up and then I just cut a little bit of sub out of it. It's interesting, right? You can hear it with the bass line. It works a lot better if you do that little sub cut. There's a lot more synergy there. So that's the kick on its own. And then we have the 2 layers. The first one is the one you hear the most. So it's the same kick. I literally just duplicated it. This keeps it really clean and just not like, you're not going to have any clashing. Like if you try to layer different kick samples together, you can have phase issues sometimes. I made it a little bit shorter. And then I have this roar here. So what it's doing is it's creating like this just super punchy mid-rangey thing. Basically I got the drive all the way up. I changed where the low cutoff is. So like this is basically just telling you where the low, mid, and highs are. So I put the lows a lot higher so that the mid is just like this. You can see I've got this tube distortion over here and it's set like that. I've got the bias moved over a little, which does make a big difference. Like, right, you can see that as you move that it changes. So I got that, got the high, like this, getting distorted as well. I'm just cutting out all the low end. And then the last layer is just a little bit at the top. It's the same thing. I made it even shorter though. Like if you listen to what this kick sounds like without any processing, it's like the shortest little piece of the kick. We're high passing it into some distortion. So you can hear you get a lot more high end out of it. This layer is literally just for that top click, right? I've just got this at the end as well to really cut it. And there you go. That's how you make a really, really hard kick. Again, if you want this one, the whole project's at the top of the description. I've got the bass line after that, the next most important part. And the bass line's 3 layers as well. We got this one, and this one. So this is kind of like the main sub that you hear. It's made with operator. They're all made with operator. The reason we like operator for this is because it's got this phase retrigger here, and that's really important for these kind of basses. To just show you what this does, basically it tells the synth that the phase will be at the same spot every single time it hits. This is important because it gives you a solid flat bass line. So like if we turn that off, you can hear the bass changes constantly. So you get this really uneven bass, but then you bring that back and you just have one solid thing every time. So what we're doing here is it's 4 oscillators in operator here, but there's no FM. I have it on this algorithm, so you're literally, you're not hearing any FM going on. You basically have this and this as well. So these 2 that are basically doing the same thing. Square waves kind of just stacking up and making a fatter waveform. Plus there's this. We have a saw wave, which is an octave up. And then, so it's basically 2 square waves and 2 saw waves. Octave apart, just super fat. They're going into a low pass filter with an envelope. You can hear when I turn that off too. This is why there's this weird fine-tune stuff happening, because you can hear these like having this really subtle detune. If I make that really like just straight and normal, see, it's not as cool. It's got a different texture when you do that really subtle detuning there. Low pass filter with this short plucky envelope. And that's really it for that bass. We're playing this C sharp here. You can see the note length. It's a bit shorter than a full 8th note. Then we got this one, more of like a donk. So yeah, it's a pretty simple FM patch. It's basically 3 sine waves FMing each other. We got these two, where one is just super, super high compared to the other one. And then we add this in, you know, really simple. The envelope on the volume here is really what creates the sound. And then I'm high passing it, so I'm getting just that like top end. Then we got this one. So this is really simple. It's a square wave going into a low pass with an envelope, very similar to the first one. We're distorting it to hell, and then I'm just high passing it. And this just has that little bit of like crunchy kind of top end that you hear a lot. So just like how that subcut worked on the kick, you can see I have one on the bass here, and when I'm turning it off, you can hear they don't work as well together. And then I turn it back on. And it's a lot cleaner. So these little subtle subcuts in the kick and bass can really go a long way for making this stuff work. Then we get the hi-hat and clap. You can see I made this hi-hat a bit shorter. I think that's very important. You can see like it's not even a full 8th note. So that's really where the processing is happening there. Plus I'm pitching that down a little bit. The clap. We have this big clap, and then I have the reverb trick where you make a really, really short reverb. I got the size all the way down and super short decay. And then distorting it, and you can hear it kind of brings out that tail and makes it like kind of jump off of the clap. And that adds to the groove, right? How it's sort of like, you know, just... Then we have this little shaker that I made using a drum rack. So I have 3 different sounds here. Right, you can hear they're just going like really, really steady like that. And I'm distorting them, which kind of makes it sound more like a shaker, as you can hear. Like it's a lot more mid-rangey without that. And what it also does is makes it cohesive. It sounds like it's all kind of like one thing, right? Because it's all going into the same distortion. Then there's an auto pan, making it groove, and so like it bounce off of the kick. And then just a high pass filter at the end, because you can hear the distortion adds a lot of low end. Then I got these two, which kind of work together. So what's going on here is I have this little percussion. Right, you can see it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the first one is longer. It's this little thing that I reversed. You can hear it just kind of adds to like... Right, there's a lot more groove there, and it kind of has this like nice bounce to it. I've got a bit of distortion on this one, so here's without that. And with it, right, we're just kind of really pushing it. You can see I brought the transients all the way up on drum bus. This isn't really like mixing though. It's really more so like sound design using that. So this isn't so much like a technique that you want to use every time, but sometimes for sound design, it can be good like this to just really blow that out. It's basically just like over compressing or over limiting it. I've got an auto pan, so it's got like the sidechain effect. High pass filter, because yeah, that's definitely going to have a lot of low end. And you really just want that to be controlled kind of in the high end. Then we got this one. So what this is a piece of a breakbeat, which just hits with the clap, as you can see. And then I've distorted it a lot. And then the auto pan, so it's like sidechain. And see, it just gives more groove to the beat, because now every time that clap hits, there's like a nice 16th note thing happening. I have this one rave loop, which kind of sits underneath those. So that's just being high passed and sidechained with auto pan. But you can see it just fills in. a little bit of 16th note percussion underneath that and gives our drums a little bit of texture. So then all together, you get this. And yeah, that's how these guys are doing their drums. And that's really the foundation you want to build. You want to start with everything you're hearing right now in exactly the order that I just showed you too. And then you can go and bring in these synths over top. So we got 3 synths starting with this little sort of saw wave thing. So what's going on here is it begins its life as this. I'll show you the MIDI and you're going to hear what it sounds like without any effects. Just this really simple pattern with these really short, not even full 16th notes. So yeah, note length really matters with this kind of stuff. Because you can see, like, if I play this like a longer note, right? It's playing C sharp, the same note the bass was playing. And what it is it's 2 saw waves, super detuned. One is 100% as far as it can go in one direction, and then as far as it can go in the other direction on the other one. They're at the same octave. There's 2 things happening with this envelope. One is it's on this filter frequency, on this low pass, and it's also on the pitch a little bit. So there's without that, and then with it. It's kind of like a Screech sort of sound, right? You'll see more of this when I show you the actual Screech, but it's that same technique. And then I have this position spread unison, which you can hear is really different from like a normal unison. Right, that would be a more straightforward one. And then that's all the way up. Then what's happening is going into the shifter, which is doing the pitch movement. So for 4 bars, the pitch is just slowly moving up with the fine tune on here. To get to this, you have to hit the frequency mode there. Then there's a high pass filter. And some distortion, which if we don't have the high pass into the distortion, you see it's a little muddier. This just tells this distortion to like only hit the mid-range and highs. I've got a reverb. Another high pass filter, because this can definitely have some low end that you don't want coming out of the distortion. And then an auto pan to give it the sidechain effect. So it bounces off the kick nicely like that. Then we got this little stab. Which just hits, you can see, like every other bass line hit, basically. And I'm showing you this to show, like, a lot of the groove you hear with this stuff and a lot of the, like, bounce in hard bounce is because there's these elements like that where it's like, the bass line is constantly hitting on that upbeat, and then this will be every other upbeat. So it works together really well with that. It's not just the fact that it's like a cool stab, but it's also like how it all fits. So with this one, what it is it starts like this. We got this wavetable patch, just 2 wavetables. This bit cart here. And then the square wave, which is an octave and 7 semitones up. That's what 19 is. So you have an octave and a 5th here, and then you play it with the other one. And you can hear it creates this really interesting stab. The cool thing with this is you can play with different wavetables and get completely different sounds. Right, but this is the one that worked really well here. And that's really it. The other thing is setting the amp envelope. Like I just made it this, long held out sort of thing to where you just hit a note and you hear it, you stop and it stops. There's no release or any attack or anything. This is the note. It's just playing the same C sharp that the bass line's playing. It's like an almost full eighth note. A little bit of reverb, some overdrive, which really brings out that nice kind of like sunburnt sort of thing, right? It's only at 18%. Like if you turn it up, see, you don't really want that 100%. High pass filter to clean it up a little bit. And that's really it for that stab. I think this one really happens inside of the wavetable, and with that other one being an octave and a fifth. And the effects just augment it. You'll notice I didn't sidechain this one as well because you kind of want it. I think it sounded better really sitting on top like that without being like ducked. And then we have this screech. So I heard this in this Ueberrest track and I want to show you how to do it. I think the cool thing with this one is you can see you really get the interesting stuff out of having different note lengths. Like the way the synth patch is set up, you play these like shorter or longer notes and you get a completely different sound, and it creates something really dynamic that you can really play with, right? So this one's also just playing that same C sharp as the bass line. For the sound, it's wavetable, it's 2 saw waves, detuned in different directions again. This one, you can see I've got this pitch envelope. There's the envelope, so it's already down a lot, like it's not, right, that's all the way up, and it's only on a tiny bit. Like you barely would even notice this with most things, but with pitch envelopes it's really cool because if you do too much, you don't really get the screech. The secret to the screech is this really, really tiny amount of it. And then classic unison just all the way up. You could do less, but for that really screechy sound, that is it. It's just a ton of unison, a ton of detune, basically pushing those as far as they can go. Then it's the distortion. So it's the same technique I showed you before where you high pass into the distortion. Because if you don't, see, it's not as like bright. It's just telling the distortion to ignore any low end. The distortion is set like that. We got another high pass filter. And then a little bit of auto pan sidechain. I didn't want to put any reverb or delay on this one. It really sets it apart from the other elements where you can really hear. It's right up front while the other ones have a little bit more reverb and space to them. The auto pan is really important on this one too. It really helps it like groove with the rest of the track. And yeah, so that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. You can get this full template at the top of the description, so definitely grab that on my website so you can make your own awesome professional hard bounce track today. Not a whole lot you can do right now to make better tracks, but if you grab this template, it really will help you immediately. So definitely check it out. Make sure to grab that, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.